Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Oxygen Not Included. We're back, it's cycle 36, and right away we have something that we need to take care of. That's why the game's paused, nothing is getting done, because we have got an issue that needs to be resolved as soon as possible, and that issue is chlorine. You'll see right here a little bit of chlorine has managed to make its way into the base, and the reason for that is that right at the end of the last episode, we of course dug down into this new area to grab ourselves some bleach stone to let us use the hand sanitizer, but in doing so, we actually brought bleach stone back into the base, and by default, bleach stone is under the consumable ores category, which we have ticked. The reason we have it ticked is because we want all of our coal from our hatch farm to go into this storage container, but because bleach stone is also a consumable ore, and because of the fact that this storage container has such a high priority, it's got a priority of 8, what's happened here is that all of the bleach stone that we mined has been put into this storage bin, and if we look at the database here, you can see that bleach stone is an unstable compound that emits unbreathable chlorine. And so even just having it in the storage bin here, it's going to emit chlorine and it's going to start to fill our base up. And what we're going to do is we're just going to move all of the bleach stone out of this storage bin down and into the lower storage bin there. So we're going to unselect that. It's going to pop it out onto the floor. Hopefully that doesn't emit even more chlorine than it being in the storage compactor. I don't think it does. I think it emits the same amount of chlorine either way. But as soon as this is built, which again is going to take a minute because they do have to come up and get air every now and again so that they don't die, which is fair and acceptable. We should also probably close this door as well. There is a little bit of chlorine here. Not quite sure how that got there. I think that might have been the bleach stone as well. You'll notice that for the most part, what has happened here is the chlorine from this cave has risen up to this area because of the fact that it's less dense than the carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide has obviously sunk down to this level, but thankfully our carbon dioxide lock here has worked because of the fact that this area is lower down than this area. And this area, the carbon dioxide has sunk to the bottom, and again, because the carbon dioxide is more dense than the chlorine, it's never going to rise up. The chlorine's never going to be able to get through this carbon dioxide here because the carbon dioxide is not going to be able to get up because there's too much chlorine, and it's not going to go down anymore because it's already as low as it can possibly get. And so the airlock here should be working as intended. There is a little bit of chlorine, which is going to make its way up into our base, much like the other bit of chlorine that we already have here, which is not great, but for the most part shouldn't be too big of an issue. A little bit of chlorine is fine. It's really only when like the majority of the base starts to become chlorine that things can get a little bit dicey. It could start to cause a bit of an issue with our mealwood farm. If like enough of the chlorine kind of congregates around some of our mealwood here, we could start to have a bit of an issue where mealwood just grows slower, which is not ideal. But for the most part, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. There's not much of it there. It's kind of just going to float around and for the most part be harmless to us for the time being, which is good. And so now that that's taken care of, now that all of our bleach stone is down in this lower level, it's actually not down in the lower level just yet because I did not set this to priority 9. Could somebody bring the bleach stone down like ASAP? Because I really don't want any more chlorine emitting out into our base. Thank you, Frankie. You are a lifesaver. So he's going to go put that down there. I'm also going to go ahead and set that to auto, just in case this chlorine does get out of hand. This should act as at least a bit of a barrier between us and the chlorine. So that is good. But now that's taken care of, what I want to work on in today's episode chiefly is water filtration. We mentioned it a little bit in the last episode, but I want to start filtering the polluted water that we have over here into usable water for our lavatories. As I mentioned before, we can't really use it for drinking water yet or for water for our sinks due to the fact that all of this polluted water over here is fully infested with food poisoning germs, and right now we don't have the infrastructure set up to get the germs out of that water. Even if you filter the polluted water back into regular water, it still contains the food poisoning, and so you actually have to either heat the water up to a crazy high temperature to boil the germs away, or you have to run it through some form of chlorine filtration system to actually kill off the germs in that way. Like I said, for now we don't have either of those, but that's fine. For now, most of the water that we're using is actually going into our lavatories here, and so just being able to reuse that for the lavatories should be just fine. Now, to do this, I am going to go ahead and actually build like a tiled room for the polluted water, and I'm thinking that we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking something kind of just like this. For the time being, we'll like dig this out, let the polluted water flow down. We are going to get our duplicates a little bit wet here, which is not going to be great. They are going to get maybe a little bit stressed in today's episode. I know I would be if I was told to go and dig out the water from the toilet. That's a little bit gross, but nevertheless, it needs to be done. And so we're going to have them dig this out, hopefully fill the water up in here, at which point we'll put a pump in there and we'll start filtering out some of the water. Now, whilst they're doing that, one thing that I did notice between episodes is that we are starting to get quite a bit of carbon dioxide here in our hatch farm, mostly due to the fact that there's no airflow tiles here. There's no way for the carbon dioxide to get out and sink down to the bottom of the base like the rest of the carbon dioxide does. And so what we should do here is just go ahead and throw down a couple of these airflow tiles just to give that carbon dioxide somewhere to go so that our hatchlings can continue to live and breathe. Another thing that I should point out here is that our hatches are cramped now. They do all have the cramped debuff, which is a debuff they get when there are too many hatches within too small of a space. Now, the reason for that, I believe, is that the hatchling eggs here that they've laid are actually counted as hatchlings. And so I think if we were to take these both out of this room and put them somewhere else, they would go back to not being cramped anymore. I think that's the reason why. And so another thing that we're going to work on in today's episode, at least a little bit, is the incubator, which I think we did just unlock. We did. And so real quick, if we've got what it takes, I would love to put an incubator down here. I might even put 2 of these down if we've got what it takes. We don't. 1 will be fine for now. And I believe the way this works is you place the egg in it, and then you can either provide it with power or not provide it with power. If you provide it with power, it will incubate the egg, it'll heat the egg up, and the egg will hatch faster, but it does require a constant supply of power, and right now we don't really have a ton of power to be giving away. We're only producing 400 watts with our coal generator, and so if this guy uses maybe any more than 120 watts, we might not be able to have that running all the time. Now, they are doing a pretty good job over here, which is good. We do want to make sure we get a liquid pump down in there. I'll put it right in the middle like so. And then also some liquid pipes that are going to run down and out to about here. We're probably going to put our water filtration system in this lower room as well. This incubator is a very temporary setup, actually. You know what? Real quick, I'm going to cancel that. I know she was halfway through building it, but I actually want to get this next room down. What I don't want to do is what I've done over here and just plop stuff down randomly, because this is going to be a pain to move going forward. What I would like to do is actually get like a room ready to go like this. We probably are going to have to move that ration box fairly soon here, but let's dig that out and let's get our water sieve into here. I think the water sieve is under refinement. It is indeed water sieve. So we're going to put that probably right about here. Can I rotate this? I can. Beautiful. Because, of course, we want the water to come in on this side, and then the filtered water to go out on that side. Something a little bit like this and like this. And then the water that comes out of that is, of course, going to go across. And, again, we can't connect this up to here, which is going to be a little awkward. We're going to have to set up a separate piping system for this. And, essentially, what I'm thinking is what we might have to do here is kind of come up like this and then go across. And then the game does have a liquid bridge, which we can put right about there. We're going to be doing to rotate that to have input on the right and output on the left. And then we can do something like that, have this come across and then up and into here, like so. For now, I'm not going to connect up that last bit, just in case they don't get rid of these ones in time. And again, we really want our lavatories to be available for as long as possible. So the very last thing we want to do is take these online for the smallest amount of time that we possibly can, just to make sure that nobody pees on the floor, right? That's kind of been our main goal for the series so far, is to have nobody pee on the floor in the base. And so far, we've been pretty successful. We've yet to have any accidents in the base, which is fantastic. And I think one of the things that's contributed to stress being nice and low as we've progressed on through here. So that is good. Whilst we wait for these guys to do all this stuff and dig all this stuff out, I did want to talk a little bit about these Drecos up here. Now, I don't think I'm going to do much with the Drecos in today's episode, but I have had a bit of an idea of how we could maybe use this chamber here to kind of maybe farm these Drecos a little bit. Because you may remember in the last episode, one of the reasons why we got the hand sanitizer, why we went into the chlorine and dug out this area over here, is that we're trying to find the thimbleweed plant over in the swamp biome over here so that we can get thimbleweed and we can use that to make canvases and make clothing and fabric and all that kind of stuff going forward. Now, I don't see any just yet. I will go and do some exploration into this area in just a second here once they've got all of this up and running. But another way that you can get the fiber is by shearing these Drecos here. If we go over to to, I think maybe station? Yeah, there's this guy here, the Shearing Station, which you can put down on the ground inside of a room like this. And Drekos are a little bit interesting because the way that they work is slightly different from the hatches. They're a little bit more tricky to farm, and that trickiness mainly comes in the form of hydrogen, because by default, if we were to go and shear this guy, he would only regenerate his wool, his fiber wool, if he was submerged in hydrogen. So you'll notice right now, if we press play, he kind of moves around the base a little bit, and right now he's kind of sitting in the chlorine. Eventually he moves up into the hydrogen, but he will only regenerate his wool whilst he's in hydrogen. So if we were to shear this guy, half the time he'd be down here and half the time he'd be up here, and so it would take him twice as long, presuming he spent equal amount of time in both halves, to fully regenerate that wool. And in turn, that also provides another issue for us, because it means that our duplicants have to walk into the room full of hydrogen and also chlorine to actually work with this guy. Now, it's not impossible. We could set up some kind of airlock here, again, either like a water airlock or a CO2 airlock, and we could put in a grooming station and a shearing station and even a few more of the Drekos, and I think this would actually work out just fine. We don't necessarily have to have a room full of hydrogen. Of course, that would be the optimal way to farm these guys, but even with this room right now, the fact that it's half hydrogen and half chlorine, eventually they will regrow that wool, and we would be able to harvest it. And so, something I'm contemplating, potentially setting up a little bit of a rudimentary Dreco farm over in here. It wouldn't be great by any stretch of the imagination, nor would it be optimal, but it would get us a nice little passive amount of fiber, which could be useful for, like I said before, clothing, for also, I think you might need it for making exosuits going forward, as well as stuff like paintings, which can really help increase the decor around the base. So, all kinds of stuff like that could be really useful, but again, for now, we're going to focus on water filtration for the time being. I'm also a little concerned about how much carbon dioxide we've got down here, honestly. I think we might want to look into either digging out a bigger space down here to allow all of that carbon dioxide to fall down, or potentially looking at maybe getting like a carbon skimmer so we can actually start to remove some of this carbon dioxide from the air and turn it back into I think it turns it into polluted water. I think you pump water in, and then the carbon skimmer produces polluted water, but gets rid of the carbon dioxide in the air. But nevertheless, for now, we've got more skills available, so let's go ahead and allocate those where possible. So Frankie is cooking and digging, and Hassan is doing critter ranching so far. Now, one thing that I did notice that we're missing right now is an engineer. We don't have anyone with improved tinkering or electrical engineering or mechatronics engineering, and that's not too much of an issue right now, but it could become an issue going forward, because if we look at the research here, one of the things that we did unlock fairly recently was the power control station. You'll see this produces microchips to increase the power output of generators. Assigned duplicants must possess the tune-up traits, which I believe we get from somebody who is an engineer. Yeah, you'll see that getting electrical engineering gives them the generator tuning trait. And so what we could do, and what we'd like to do, is obviously have one of those generator tuning machines inside a room, inside a power plant, with our coal generator, so we get more power from our coal, thus requiring the use of less coal, and thus just meaning we have more coal going forward and we can last longer in the game, of course. Now, they can't quite get to this just yet, and so I will go ahead and put down 1, 2, 3, 4, where the next row is going to be, which is right about there. I do want to move this water at some point, but that's a problem for the future. I'm not too worried about that just yet. What I'll probably end up doing is mirroring the setup that we have on this side here. So we'll have a tank on the left, you know, something that looks a little bit maybe like this, with a fresh water in it and a pump, just to make the base look a little bit more symmetrical. But again, back to the skills real quick. I didn't actually assign any skills there. I think for now, Hassan's got a lot on his plate. He's doing the critter wrangling. I think I might just give him hard digging for the time being, and let him, you know, continue doing what he likes doing, and have somebody else who can dig out very firm materials. Frankie, on the other hand, I might go ahead and start making him an engineer. We could make him like a cook/engineer. Although maybe not, maybe I'll just give him super hard digging. The fact that he likes it, I think I'll stick with that. I think what we might want to do is get our 6th duplicant and have them be the engineer. Unfortunately, nobody here really has those traits, I don't think. And for now, it's fine. We'll take the care packet. I'm not in any huge rush to get an engineer. It's just something we need to bear in mind for the future. For now, though, let's get some more power wire going over to our water filtration system here. We'll just have it go along like so. This guy is almost done. We, of course, do need to have wire going over there. It looks like we are out of copper. Thankfully, we do have more available to mine over here. Hopefully, nobody falls into like that little pit there. That would be not great. And as I mentioned in the last episode, I do want to move the supercomputer and the research station down closer to the water. I think I'll do that when I actually move the water into its new tank form. So once we get like the mirrored tank on the left-hand side here, then we'll move the supercomputer down to like this level here where the skill scrubber is right now. Still no metal, or still not enough metal for the wire here. I really thought we would have enough there. Let's quickly build like a ladder up and like dig out a large amount of metal in this top area here. There is also more metal further down. We've got like iron over here and even more copper down here as well. I'm not quite sure why he's going to get more bleach stone. Is he like refilling the hand sanitizer? I don't think he is. I don't think anyone's really used the hand sanitizer just yet. So I'm not quite sure. Is this still like priority? Oh, it is. Let me set these to low priority real quick. I don't want anybody harvesting these flowers. You don't need to do that. Oh, I see. He's picking up the bleach stone and putting it in there. All right, that's fine. That's actually not too bad. There are better things that I'd rather he be doing, but for the most part, that's not terrible. Yeah, we're missing a lot of metal, so we desperately need to get this going here. Let's not forget, they cannot, I don't think, get in here, right? Due to the fact that there's this in the way. So let's go ahead and move this. I should put down another ration box before we move it, so I'll put it right about there for now, just so they have somewhere to put all of the stuff. Oh, they can get in there. They can kind of just jump over it. That's fine. I do also want to put in the incubators. I want to get these back down where possible. That is going to use quite a bit of the copper that we just mined, but that's fine. As long as we've got enough to get power over to this guy, that should be okay. And at that point, we should be in business. The water should start getting filtered. We can hook this up. We can disconnect the pipes that are already there. And everything should be pretty much good to go. I think we are going to get a bit of water spillage here when we break the pipes, but that's fine. It should just fall back down into our pre-existing body of water. So that is all good. And everything should work out just nicely. Now, I'm not going to connect this guy up with power. I am going to select the hatchling egg and click incubate. I think what that will do is just take one of the eggs and place it into here. Hopefully. I don't believe we need power online for this to work. And you'll see now that these guys, because we've taken that egg away, are no longer cramped. We do have one here who is elderly. I assume he's not long for this world. Yeah, age 95 out of 100. So only 5 more cycles on that guy. Hopefully, by that time, this egg will have hatched and we can go ahead and replace him with the new hatchling there. This is connected and ready to go. However, maybe we're low on power. Also, I would like all edible things in here. Guys, all this stuff on the floor would be lovely inside of this ration box. Did I connect up the power correctly? I didn't. Okay, there's a missing wire there. Boom. Once that's online, everything should come together. I don't want this connected. Again, 240 watts is just too many watts for us right now. We don't want to have that constantly running. For now, we're just using this as somewhere to put the egg, because if you put the egg, we could sweep it up, but if you put the eggs into your storage bin, I believe they turn into like cracked eggs. They turn into food that you can then eat, which is not what we want right now. Right now, we do want our hatchling eggs to actually turn into hatchlings, but there we go. Our liquid pump is online. Water is being pumped into here, the polluted water. Sand has been delivered. I'll give this a slightly higher priority just to make sure that this guy always has sand and can keep filtering that water into regular water for us. And then over here, let's go ahead and deconstruct the pipes. We'll specify liquid pipes and we'll go to the liquid overlay. So I want to disconnect these pipes right here, as well as maybe these pipes as well, I guess. We don't need those ones anymore. And then once they're done, I would like a priority 9 build on these new pipes just to make sure that this gets taken care of before anyone needs to pee. Also, if I could get like a level 9 mop on this as well, that would be perfect. Again, nothing too bad so far. The water being down here is just fine. It does mean they're going to have to put a bunch of water into bottles. And I guess also for now, we actually don't have a bottle emptier over here. We should definitely put one right about there so our duplicates can actually get rid of all of this fresh water that we have around the base. But there we go. That wasn't actually too bad. We can cancel that sweeping command. I didn't mean to cancel the pipe there. Let's rebuild that like so. And hopefully, everything should be good. That is unreachable. I'm going to have to build a little bit of a ladder here just so they can get up to that area. But once they get there, we should be good to go. Is this guy producing water? The pipe is blocked. It is. There is even a gap in the pipe that I would also love to fix. Like that. Again, priority 9. This was my mistake. Earlier when we deconstructed the ration box, I didn't specifically select the ration box. I selected everything in that tile, so they've just completely deleted everything that was here, including the wire and the pipe, which is why we've had to rebuild those. But nevertheless, this is almost there. It says unreachable dig. Can you guys not? You should be able to do that, right? Yeah, there we go. All right, so hopefully now, there we go. The clean water is being pumped back around and into the lavatories. This does have food poisoning, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's just going into the toilets. It's going to be used to flush them. So that is all good. Now, the good thing about this setup is that, one, we've got a lot of sand, and so we can kind of keep this going for quite a long time. But the other good thing is you actually get quite a bit more water out of the lavatories than you put into it. And so essentially all we're doing here is generating more polluted water. I think you get almost twice as much polluted water out of the lavatories than what you put in. So you put in, you know, 1 kilogram of water, you're going to get close to 2 kilograms of polluted water back out, which we're then turning back into regular water. And so over time, this little reservoir of polluted water is going to slowly fill up more and more, which is a good thing in the long run, because eventually we can start turning this back into regular drinking water. And at that point, it's good that we have, you know, an excess of water, because water is going to run out eventually. You'll see this is slowly but surely running out. Hopefully less so now that we've got this new pipe structure online. And looking at this, I would have rather built the pipe 1 tile further up, like here. We can't break these pipes, because if we break these pipes, the water's going to fall in here, and then we're going to infect this body of water with food poisoning. So the only way that we can break these pipes is after we've moved this water elsewhere. And so that is something I do want to do, because again, the pipes don't add to the decor, so it would be beneficial for us to have those embedded in the floor. But I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. That's something that we can worry about in the future when it becomes a bit more of an issue. And so finally here, let's actually go and do a bit of digging into the swamp biome. Hopefully, this isn't too bad. I'm a little worried about these bodies of water here, like falling into each other. Is this gold? It is. But we do have to start somewhere. And so I'm kind of just going to dig like this. I want to get to this sedimentary rock. Again, I'm a little worried that this is a bit too thin. I guess it's not too bad if the water does fall through it, which means our duplicates are probably going to get a bit wet, which is not great. But I want to dig through here. I also want to make sure real quick that we put a storage bin on this side of the hand sanitizer, and this is going to be a priority 9, and it's going to be where all of our slime goes. Again, we don't want that slime lung coming back into our base, because otherwise it's going to start infecting everybody with slime lung, and that is not a good thing whatsoever. I'm also contemplating hooking these doors up with power lines. They do use 120 watts, but I'm fairly certain they only use that power when they're online. And the benefit here is that they will open much, much faster, and thus hopefully slow down even more the amount of polluted oxygen and whatnot coming through into this area here. That's the idea, at least. And so really, I'm hoping that we can find some thimbleweed. The thimbleweed would be really nice to find here. And also getting our hatchers eating sedimentary rock again increases our chances of getting the rock hatchers, and thus increases our chances of getting more coal going forward. You'll notice on the right here, we are up to 8.5 tons of coal now. So we're up from about 6 tons of coal earlier. And I'm fairly certain we've not mined any in today's episode. And so we are slowly but surely gaining more coal through our hatch farm right now, at least more so than what our coal generator can use. I'm quite tempted to put another one down and see, you know, if we can kind of maintain an equilibrium with 2 coal generators, or if that's just too many. I also kind of want to fairly soon set up a room with insulated tile, so we can start to insulate some of the heat that's coming out of the coal generator. I can't quite remember where the insulated tile is. Oh, here it is. It's under gas, temperature modulation. I would love to get this insulated tile here so we can build a room and keep the heat from the generator trapped inside of it. Previously, I said that I wanted to make tile out of abyssalite. Apparently, that's no longer a thing. It used to be a thing that you could make tile out of abyssalite, and it would be a really good insulator against heat. That is no longer the case. Now you've got to use the insulated tile if you want to do that. So you'll see that everybody... also, we will build some tile here just to keep our duplicates going. Oh, no. That's not what we wanted to do. Gosh dang it. Okay, we'll build a ladder to bring her home here. Get rid of that and cancel that. Please somebody save Mima. She's cold and has soggy feet and is going to get sick from the polluted oxygen. But yeah, you'll see there is the slime lung here. The hand sanitizer should prevent anybody from bringing it back into the base. Yeah, you can see here that we do have food poisoning here. The reason this pipe is yellow is due to the fact that food poisoning is running through it. And through our base. Again, shouldn't be an issue. They are going to clean these out fairly regularly. They wash their hands before they leave the room, so that should be fine. We do have food poisoning in here. Why do we have food poisoning in here? It's quite possible that this is from the dirt. Yeah, we've got 5.8 tons of dirt with over 1,000 food poisoning germs. I'm going to try real quick disinfecting this. I don't think that works. Yeah, no, it doesn't. The germs are not on the storage container, and so you can't disinfect that. I think that's come from our compost, like our polluted dirt. That's not great, although there is no food stored in there, and so hopefully it might be okay. Yeah, this looks fine. You'll see it is rapidly losing the number of like food poisoning germs on there. It's going down because they have nothing to do, nowhere to live. So that's good. That should like hopefully just take care of itself, ideally at least. A little bit of food poisoning here, which is to be expected. Again, the food poisoning makes sense there. Every so often they will, oh no. Oh, it's Mima, that's fine. She's peeing into the polluted water. That's okay. It's not great. The stress is going up. Meanwhile, it's not living life down here, which is understandable, honestly. But that's not too bad. As soon as she gets out of there, stress should lower quite significantly. The downside is that it looks like there's no thimbleweed here, at least not in this swamp biome is actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Like, it instantly goes down to this very cold -30, like, ice biome down here, which is really, really cold. An anti-entropy thermonullifier. Look at that. Awaiting hydrogen. Wonder what that does. But yeah, this biome's a lot smaller than I thought it would be, and there's no thimbleweed. Oh, there is! Right there! Somebody please go and harvest this thimbleweed, would you? Is it sweep or harvest? I don't know if it's planted or not. I think it's sweep. Yes, please go and sweep this thimbleweed. Now, if we look in the book here, the thimbleweed grows best between temperatures of 22 and 37, and the atmosphere can be oxygen, carbon dioxide, polluted water, and then it does require 160 kilograms of polluted water per cycle in order to grow. And so I think what I might do for now is research that hydroponic farm right at the top here, which is... Oh, we've already got it, the hydroponic farm. It's unlocked. And so I'm thinking what we might do, if we only have one seed, I might put it like right here and just have a little bit of the polluted water divert into it like that. And hopefully there's enough space for it to grow. It should be fine with all the carbon dioxide. That should be a-okay. None of these machines require oxygen, so that's fine. It's not particularly expandable. Like, you know, I guess we could put more down over here, I guess. But this is very temporary. I just want to get some thimbleweed growing so we can actually start using it and building things and making paintings and whatnot with that reed. Over here, I want organic and I want slime. Yeah, slime. Polluted dirt, I guess, can also go in here if you find any before it goes in the compost. But this is going to be a priority. Oh, that's fine. It doesn't need to be a high priority, actually. We're not bothered for them to move the slime lung into here. Like, that's not a priority for us. It just want to make sure that slime goes in there and doesn't go in here. Yeah, slime is disabled there. Good. Okay. Could somebody go and get this, please? Storage unavailable. Ah, okay. If I cancel that real quick and I just set this guy to thimbleweed, I think they might actually just go and get it. So, thimbleweed. Oh, we got 2 of them. Okay, for now I will put one of these either side. Actually, no, we can't plant one there because that is where the other water plumbing is. Okay, that's fine. I'll figure out between episodes where I want to plant these. I might build another room like just beneath here and start planting them in there. For now, just getting these going at all is going to be useful. So we'll do that. We'll set this to like priority 6, so it gets done and gets harvested before other things. There we go. And then right now it does say body temperature. Is it too hot? No, it's too cold. Ah, okay. That's going to be an issue. What does it need? 22? I think it's getting there. Like, I did see the temperature going up a second. 21.678. Yep. There we go. Oh, nice. Okay, so it did get there in the end. It got to that right temperature, and now it is growing with the polluted water there. It's using the polluted water at a rate of 160 kilograms per day. I'm not quite sure how much water we have here. Oh, we've got, like, you know, a couple of tons of water, of polluted water at least, over here. And as I mentioned before, as we pump this around, we will get a surplus of polluted water. And so this should work out just fine, which is pretty great. But with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of Oxygen Not Included there. We got our water filtration system up and running. Next episode, we'll come back and we'll look at moving this body of water over a little bit, setting up some new rooms, potentially moving our research station down, looking into maybe farming some Drekos so we can actually start to get some more thimbleweed faster. I might even set up a better thimbleweed farm because much like with the mealwood, I'm fairly certain that we will get more thimbleweed seeds here as we grow them, so we can kind of expand the farm out as we see fit. We could also look at maybe setting up a power plant, getting ourselves a new duplicant that we can put into the engineering category, and then of course just explore some more, do some more research, unlock some more things, and maybe eventually get down into the space stuff. I'm really intrigued as to what this has to offer. I've never done any of the space age stuff down here, so I'm kind of interested to see what all of this looks like. But for now, as always, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new here to get notified as soon as new videos go out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.